Hello and welcome. You're watching Business Today Television. This is Market Today. I'm Sakshi Batra and with me is Shail Bhatnagar. Well, India's benchmark equity indices, they snapped 5 consecutive days of a fall to end at the highest closing levels on Friday. That was the first day of the August series. The index began this August F&O series with a 400-point surge, something that it had actually gained through the entire July series. Almost every index heavyweight, be it Reliance Industries, Infosys, TCS, ITC, put their hands up on Friday to take the Nifty to a new record high of 24,861 at the final minute of Friday. Now, as we move into today, a slew of earning reactions will be seen during the trading session. Stocks like ICICI Bank, IndusInd Bank, Bandhan Bank, Power Grid, KC International, Keynes Technologies and a whole lot more will be reacting to their earnings that were reported after the market hours on Friday. But it will be the key number from ICICI Bank that will now be determining whether the Nifty manages to scale the 25,000 mark today. Good morning to all our viewers and good morning, Shail.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to this fine Monday morning to all that have joined us on Market Today. It's a wonderful, wonderful feeling to meet you all once again. 24,834 is what you have, ladies and gentlemen, on the Nifty. Sakshi has belted out a lot of data. Let me embellish that with a little bit more. This is the 8th consecutive week of gains. Remember, Friday's rally came after a 5-day drop, but the Nifty recovered all that and much more. Here is a lot of interesting data for you. In the last 8 weeks, the Nifty has appreciated about 10 percentage points. That's a rally of 2,200 points right there in front of you. And if you look at Sakshi, a very interesting data. So far, 29 weeks have lapsed in 2024. Out of 29 weeks, Sakshi, only 7 weeklies have ended in mild negative gains, and 22 weeks the Nifty has gone up week on week. So this is a data which not many media houses have, but we present to you in a manner that's easily understandable and easily acted upon. This is the weekly chart of the Nifty. The 8 weeks that you see is a 10 percentage point, and it from the beginning of 2024. 22 weeks of positivity, just 7 weeks of mild losses, and that's the reason why we are at 24,834. The Nifty, if you look at the futures from GIFT Nifty, they are pointing to 25,000. It's a melt up, ladies and gentlemen. Sakshi will give you more details coming out of Wall Street, but across Asia, across Wall Street and across our Dalal Street, you see a melt up happening. Without doubt, 25,000 is in sight, but what beyond that? Well, today the markets are going to react to 5 Nifty company earnings. They are ICICI and IndusInd from the banking side, Dr. Reddy's, which has announced a 5-for-1 stock split, NTPC and Power Grid from the power sector. Now, the only point of concern is ICICI Bank and IndusInd Bank, where you see muted numbers coming in and all sorts of issues, especially with IndusInd Bank. We've seen for the first time in 9 quarters that gross non-performing assets have actually gone up, and even ICICI Bank, India's 3rd largest banking conglomerate, says it's facing problems in raising fresh fixed deposits. So with these two in background, Sakshi will give you a lot of details as far as the actual earnings are concerned, but keep an eye out on NTPC. NTPC itself has gone up 4.7% in the month of July. Power Grid is up 4%. IndusInd Bank is actually down 4.1%, and the star performer is Dr. Reddy's. Remember, the split will be active in a couple of days, but this counter is up 7.4% and is most likely to accelerate. The earnings were really good. 13 Nifty stocks this week will report their earnings. Among them, SBI, ITC, Maruti, Adani Enterprises, Tata Motors and Sun Pharma. Overall, 99 companies report today and 500 this week. So Sakshi and I are going to have a very, very busy week. As far as gains are concerned, keep an eye out on ONGC. This is Nifty's best performing stock for the month of July. It's up about 22%. and the worst performing stock is Axis Bank, down about 4.5%. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 more trading sessions for the month of July. If the F&O space has been fantastic, the cash counters have outperformed even them. For the next 2 days, expect very heavy buying from the mutual fund side to keep on improving their net asset value. So last 2 days, you will see a lot of work happening on net asset values, and mostly it will be focused on large cap. If you look at the Nifty options data, there is a very strong support at 24,800 and 24,700. Any dip towards that, ladies and gentlemen, has to be welcomed with open arms. Remember, the markets are overstretched and overheated, but all dips are being purchased too. As far as the bank Nifty is concerned, it remains muted, and more so because of now ICICI Bank, more so about IndusInd Bank. So a very strong support coming in at 51,500 to 50,000. Any dip towards that needs to be purchased, and of course there is a very huge supply zone on 52,000 as far as the Nifty is concerned. Beyond 25,000, the Nifty will pause, and therefore you might see an opportunity getting back into the market. Let's get back to Sakshi. Let's understand what's happening on Wall Street, and more importantly, numbers from NTPC, from Power Grid, and more importantly, ICICI Bank. Sakshi.
Absolutely. Well, the US markets rallied sharply on Friday as the personal consumer expenditure or inflation also raised bets for an impending rate cut that could be coming in September. Remember, the Dow Jones surged about 1.6%, the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq also ended with gains in excess of 1% each. So a very strong close as far as Friday and the week is concerned for the Wall Street. And the US Federal Reserve will now announce its July policy meeting decision on Wednesday. The Bank of Japan will also take their rate decisions on Wednesday, so that will be key. Bank of England will be publishing the monetary policy report on Thursday, so this entire week is going to be extremely important with the way the global central banks are looking at the interest rate trajectory going forward. The US 10-year bond yield dipped to a 4.2% among commodities. Gold futures quoted at around $23.85 per ounce levels, while Brent crude oil futures were hovering around $80 per barrel. Remember, following this and the Wall Street action, we've seen markets in the Asia Pacific region rebound from a 3-day decline. Japan's Nikkei surged by about 2.7%. We also saw that the Kospi zoomed about 1.4% in the initial trade. Then Hang Seng and Shanghai also quoted higher, with the Hang Seng above 1% or so, with the Shanghai index up by about 0.1% higher in trade. As far as the GIFT Nifty is indicating of a positive start, a gap up start, and over 100 point of an uptick that could be seen, and we could be seeing an above 25,000 mark opening for the Indian markets. So that's something that we'll continue to keep an eye out on. Well, the overseas investors, they turned net buyers on Friday after 3 days of selling. The foreign portfolio investors, they mopped up stocks worth about 2,546 odd crores, while the domestic institutional investors, they remained net buyers for the 4th consecutive session, and they also bought equities worth about 2,774 odd crore rupees. Let's now keep an eye out on as to how some of the key earnings were also looking like after Friday's close and over the weekend as well. So let's start off with ICICI Bank. The private sector bank reported a net profit of 11,059 odd crore rupees for the first quarter. This is an uptick of about 14.6% on a year-on-year basis. The net interest income came in at 19,552 odd crores, an uptick of 7.3% year-on-year. The gross non-performing asset of the lender also came in at 2.15%. So we'll continue to keep an eye out on how ICICI Bank will will react to its numbers. Apart from this, Ultratech Cement will be important. There's a big announcement that has now come in that the cement major has received board approval for the acquisition of 32.72% stake in India Cements at a price of 390 rupees per share. The cost of acquisition is 3,954 odd crores, and in addition it is also announced an open offer for additional 26% stake in India Cements at 390 rupees per share, which is a 4% premium to Friday's close. So that's an important development in terms of news that we'll be keeping an eye out on Ultratech Cement and of course the entire cement pack as well. Apart from this, NTPC also reported its numbers, a revenue uptick of 13%. It beat the street estimates, and also the profit after tax figure came in higher by about 11% on a year-on-year basis to 4,511 odd crore rupees. We've actually seen strong power generation numbers also coming in. although the margins got squeezed a bit on this one. Whereas when we talk about Power Grid numbers, standalone profit fell by about 4% year on year to 3,412 odd crore rupees. The revenue was down by about 2 odd percent at about 10,068 odd crore rupees as well. Apart from this, IndusInd Bank from the banking space will be in focus again. The Q1 FY25 consolidated YOY numbers show the NII was up by 11% at 5,408 odd crore rupees. Net profit jumped about 2% higher. We also saw that the net NPA came in at 0.6% versus 0.57% sequentially. Now, when we talk about Indigo, that's going to be important to watch out for as well. Q1 numbers show a revenue uptick of 17.3% at 19,571 odd crore rupees, and EBITDA also was up by about 15.5 odd percent at 5,840 odd crore rupees for the company. The margins, however, slipped by about 44 basis points to 29.8 odd percent. We also saw that the net profit, this is a strong figure, 47.5% uptick at 1,063 odd crore rupees for Interglobe Aviation. So that will be key to watch. Banking space again, Bandhan Bank will be important to watch. NII improved by 21% at 3,005 crores. Gross NPAs came in at 4.23%, slightly higher than the last quarter reported number of 3.84%. Even the net NPA came in at 1.15% versus 1.11%. The net profit, however, jumped substantially, 47.5% higher for this one as well. Now, when we look at GMDC's numbers, Q1 FY25 numbers show a revenue uptick of 6.9%. EBITDA, however, came down 14.3%. The margins came in lower at 25.8% versus 32.2%, and the profit also slipped by about 15.6%. The stock would be reacting downwards after the weak set of numbers. SBI Cards came out with a number. Total income up by about 10.8%. The net profit just about steady, 0.2% higher in trade. Nuvama Wealth Management, however, reported very strong set of numbers. Total income up of 46.7% at 953 crores, while the profit was up 79.5%. So these are some of the key numbers that you need to keep on your radar today, Shail.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll keep an eye out on BHEL as well. The company's got an order worth 10,000 crore rupees from Damodar Valley Corporation. This is again Government of India enterprise which runs the Damodar Dam somewhere in eastern India. Keep an eye out on that one as well. The 10,000 crore rupee order is going to add a lot of flavor to this counter. Remember, BHEL, the stock closed at 317 as far as Friday's close is concerned, and in the month of July alone it has added 5.5%. What else will be in action? Of course, Sakshi's mentioned the reason on India Cement. India Cement is the top performing F&O stock in the month of July, up about 27%, and the momentum is likely to get better because from now on we'll be looking at the open offer trying to set the price. Remember, the rule is the 6-month average for the past the average of 6 months is what the open offer price is. So the higher it goes, the better is for existing shareholders. Apart from that, keep an eye out on Emphasis and Infosys. These are the two counters from the IT space that are lighting up the F&O space in the IT sector. 3,029 for Emphasis, 23% higher as far as July is concerned, and of course Infosys, this is the second best performing Nifty stock, up 19.9% as far as prices are concerned in the month of July alone. Mr. Gaurav Dua is with us, Head of Capital Market Strategy at sharekhan.com. Good morning, Gaurav ji. A very warm welcome to you. I am sure you are as excited as Sakshi and I, if not more, to look at Nifty climbing beyond 25,000 points. What a great time to be on Dalal Street. Your views on sentiment as far as Dalal Street is concerned, and maybe one or two stocks that you are keenly looking at even at these levels.
So, it has been an this excellent run for the market, despite all the worries after elections, budget, increase in the, this taxation. Market is climbing all the wall of worries. It is making new highs. Momentum is extremely strong. And in the very, very immediate term, I think it will go on. But my basic issue is not with the index Nifty. I think it's still valuations. They are not cheap, but they are not very, very expensive. I think the bigger this thing issue could be in the small cap space, micro cap space. BSC small cap index is at 35 times trailing this price to earnings, which is not cheap, and that is where I think you need to have some caution.
Very good morning to you, Mr. Dua. Help us understand your view on the private banking space. Many of them have come out with the earnings, starting with ICICI Bank, IndusInd, Bandhan Bank as well. How have you assessed the earnings from some of these major private sector banks? And do they point to a sustainable uptick that we have actually seen now finally coming in on the Nifty Bank led by the private banking space, sir?
So, ICICI Bank was basically decent. This is set of numbers. Basically, the margins, also the asset quality was in line. Other income was actually higher than expectation. That is why your profit after tax is actually higher than expectation. So, I think ICICI Bank should do well. But on the other hand, IndusInd Bank, IDFC First, these are the two private sector banks which actually did not do well. They have seen basically increase in the or there are this issues on there in terms of the asset quality. So I think it will more or less of this balance out. But on the other hand, public sector bank, if you see, Punjab National Bank had a very very strong set of numbers. So I think overall banking index will I think struggle, and this thing continue to to this underperform the market.
Dua Sahab, there is also this issue that the market is grappling with is even the best banking franchisees unable to improve upon CASA. In fact, Axis Bank has shown that CASA deposits have fallen from 46% to 42% in the quarter. Similar fears being raised by ICICI Bank. How do you think banking NIMs will react over the next 3 to 4 quarters as the bull run in the market gets better and better and it continues to attract middle class money towards itself? What about fixed deposits? What do you think banks will do?
So when you have a mid double digit kind of this growth in the advances, there is always be a very big fight for the CASA deposits, liability side. That is what we are seeing, and that is where the strength of your franchisee is actually important. At what price, what rate you are able to garner these low cost basically inflows, and that's where we believe that ICICI Bank will stand out, State Bank of India will stand out. So these are the two names which have actually been doing very well for past few years, and we believe that these two stocks will continue to lead the rally. There were a lot of hopes of revival back in this thing, HDFC Bank, because of its strong this brand name, franchisee. However, they are still struggling with the merger issues, and that is why the stock is underperforming. And I don't see those issues getting sorted out very very fast. It will still take around 4 to 6 months. So that's where I think you will have time to buy the stock, but ICICI and the State Bank of India will be the leaders.
Let's shift focus to the cement space that will see continued action today with Ultratech Cement, India's largest cement company, on the prowl. Just a month after announcing financial investment in India Cements, the board has now approved the acquisition of the promoter shareholding, triggering an open offer right there. Promoter stake was acquired at 390. How would you really look at the entire space now shaping up, starting with the large caps Ultratech and following up with the entire space that follows?
So the Ultratech acquisition hasn't been cheap, okay, compared to rest of the acquisitions that you have seen in South, which have happened at $78 to 85 distinct dollars a ton. This is around close to 110. So it's basically a very old asset, aging asset, which will require a lot of investment, and it is not being bought cheap. So basically, the acquisition is a advantage for for this India Cement rather than for this Ultratech on a on a this immediate basis. Yes, it makes sense for Ultratech on a this strategic level. They have been this weak in South with these two acquisitions that they have done. They'll have around 22% kind of share now in South. So that is actually good. But with the this entry of Ultratech, I think the prices in South will this thing go down further. Competition is going to increase, and the smaller players in South, though they will be acquisition targets. We overall on the business side, I think they will going to go through this thing tough phase. Overall, I have a neutral view on the space, and Ultratech and Ambuja are our buys in this space.
Just a couple of points on both India Cement and Ultratech. Remember, as Mr. Dua rightly says, it's priced at $110 per ton, the acquisition cost. And the interesting part here, Sakshi, is that frontline cement counters have pretty much done nothing as far as the year-to-date performance is concerned. If you look at Ambuja, it is up just 2.4% in the month of July. And if you look at the annual performance, Ambuja has gained 31%. Ultratech has gained only 11%, but a 44% uptick on India Cement. So for those who are trying to make money out of the cement space, look at only and only targets, merger targets, takeover targets, something like Orient Cement, something like Heidelberg Cement, something like to some extent even what was earlier Mysore Cements, which is now Heidelberg. So these are the ones that provide value, because if the front lines are not moving, then mid caps under pricing pressure have underperformed dramatically. But these two buyouts, one by Ambuja Cement of unlisted Penna Cement, and of course Ultratech of India Cement, have added a new spark in the life of the cement sector. Mr. Dua, let's get into the PSU space. There were fears post-budget that nothing much will happen, but again, rail stocks are doing fairly well. Defense is quiet, but PSU banking has again got back into the momentum. Anything that catches your fancy on the rail side, which might be relatively better off in terms of valuation and might provide a fairly strong uptick over the next 2 or 3 years for our viewers?
So, if you have a look at the budget numbers, there has been a substantial increase in the allocation for roads, power, defense, railways. So it is not that they don't have allocation. More than that, there is a 30% increase in the grants for the capex by the this public sector unit. So there is a significant number there which has gone up from around 3 lakh crore to 3.9 lakh crore, and that is what has kept the public sector rally this thing intact. Now, in this space, what we have always seen is there always going to be, certain stocks which will do well, then they'll go into this thing sideways this thing movement, and another group of stocks within that space will start to do well. So there is a clear this thing rotation here, and that is what you are seeing. We believe that the defense stock will do well. Railways have been doing well, and what we have been saying is that we are playing this entire rally in the railway sector through the wagon players, which is basically your this Jupiter wagon and this thing Titagar. So these are the two stocks where we have a clear order book, where the margins are much predictable, and the stocks have done extremely well. Some of the other stocks, we believe that they could still go up on the market upside momentum. However, valuations are not on their side, and those stocks are now very good to trade. But some of these stocks are, we believe, not the right space to actually invest.
Right. Mr. Dua, how would you look at Indigo? It's been out of sight, out of mind for a long time, but now post the earnings, would you look at it afresh? Goldman Sachs has come out with a report on this one. They have a target price which is raised from 4,700 to 4,800, so a 100-point uptick right there. But they believe the earnings were in line, leave alone the one-off compensation part, but the costs have started to come in higher in line with the management commentary as well. Of course, the 5th August meeting will be important, which will give clarity on the growth strategy that the company will have, the new model offerings, long haul, etc. How would you look at it this afresh, sir?
So, this is a stock which have done exceedingly well, and a lot of this positives are like already in the price. So I will not want to buy this stock at this price, but yes, if this stock, if you're able to get it 7, 8%, 10% down, that is the time I think you should accumulate the stock.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the pre-open rates with us. Congratulations, 24,900 is with the bulls. We are clicking 123 points higher as far as the Nifty is concerned. And this move is driven by none other than Tata Motors, 2.5% higher, 1148. Needless to say, this is a record high. A record high on TCS as well, 44.51, 64 rupees higher. Infosys 6 rupees higher at 1885. Let's pay attention to the 3 other index heavyweights. ICICI Bank, very strong reaction, positive to the markets, 32 rupees higher, 1239. Perhaps the mojo is back. Reliance 3030, 12 rupees higher. And let's look at HDFC Bank. This is the lone stock which is about 13 rupees lower, 1605. Now Sakshi, 25,000 on the Nifty, 200 points higher, and it's mainly on account of ICICI, Tata Motors, and of course TCS and Infosys that is driving the markets higher. Reliance as well. Let's look at outperformance. India Cement, 10% higher, 395. It's slipping about 5.6% higher, record high. Punjab National Bank, very strong set of earnings, 6.5% higher, 128. Multi-commodity exchanges 10% higher, 45.54. Earnings from Bandhan Bank appreciated by the market, 202.7, 5.3% higher. Strong order win by BHEL, 3.7% higher, 329. This is how the markets are as far as F&O is concerned. A very quick look into NSE 500. Okay. Nuvama, 12% higher, 6327. You have RITES, 7.9% higher, 720. Okay, any other interesting data? You have a thread running into the markets that buybacks, the ones that come before 1st of October 2024, will not attract the new tax. Therefore, all buyback candidates are now buzzing. One company that I track in this space is Pharma major FDC, 524. Needless to say, this is a record high, 4.36% higher. HPCL 390, 3.57% higher. So ladies and gentlemen, the gap up is in place, 24,967, 131 points higher. Sakshi, what are you watching?
A lot of these pharma companies are also inching higher. Now, Dr. Reddy is inching higher with respect to the earnings that came in higher than estimates for this one too. We're also looking at Cipla, for instance. The brokerage houses have raised the Cipla target. Citi has come out with a report with a higher target for Cipla, 1720 for this one versus a 1650 target earlier. They believe that Cipla has now become the top pick over Sun Pharma for the brokerage firm. You do see a 1.2% higher take on this one. Let's look at how Indigo is reacting to the earnings as well as to the Goldman Sachs report too, where the target has been upgraded to 4,800. There's a 0.8% of an uptick for this one as well. Let's also look at Adani Green, for instance. There's a Jefferies report that has initiated coverage on Adani Green with a buy rating and a price target of 2130 and upside potential of 17% is what they've indicated. A percent higher is what it is opening at, 1824. for currently. The brokerage believes there is a firm tailwind for the company to continue to report higher numbers going forward. Now, when we look at Nuvama Wealth Management, let's look at key numbers were very, very strong, especially the top line and the bottom line for the company. Let's see how that one is reacting to the numbers. There was a 47% uptick in the total income and the net profit that jumped nearly 80% for Nuvama Wealth Management. That is one stock that I'm looking at. Let's pull up that stock to see that one is also reacting very, very strongly. Apart from this, we'll also look at how SBI Cards is also reacting to the numbers. Total income up by about 10.8% versus a net profit which was absolutely flat at this point in time. So that is another number that I'm going to be watching out for. Absolutely flat with a negative bias. I think it's now 2% down in trade as well. Apart from this, let's also look at how NTPC and Power Grid also reacting. The numbers came in, and both these power makers will be important to be tracked, and 2.9% higher for NTPC, 408 currently. We'll also look at how Power Grid is reacting. It's lower after those earnings, 1.2% softer, and BHEL also is another one that we'll look at because of the huge order win that the company has reported. So let's see how the other PSU maker is also reacting as of now. Yes, a 3.3% uptick for this one at 327 right now. Gaurav ji, let's come to you to help us understand 25,000 is something that we are already seeing in the pre-opening rates in the Nifty. What beyond this? Do you see the momentum continuing, sir, or do you think this could be a near-term top?
So I think it will go on, but yes, of course, it's not a very long run from here. I won't be surprised with 500 odd points more that you will see in this next few weeks, and then I think the market can slip into a sideways zone, which actually would be extremely healthy for the market.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll also look at some other spaces that are showing strong ticks. The entire Adani group, all 10 stocks are in the green, led by ACC, 1.29% higher, 2648. Let's look at what Ambuja is doing. Ambuja at the moment is 0.8% higher, 692. Remember, there's a rub-off that's happening on the India Cement transaction with Ultratech. Let me just look at the other cement stocks. Chiefly merger candidates. Okay, you have Swarashtra Cement 3.4% higher, 146. Sagar Cement 2.8% higher, 245. Keep an eye out on this one. Heidelberg Cement, again keep an eye out on this one, 2.3% higher, 239. Orient Cement 340.7, 1.6% higher. The entire defense pack is back in action, led by Zen Technologies, a phenomenal set of earnings. Zen is up circuit limit 5 at 1605, I am not mistaken, 1610. Green ticks on Cochin, green ticks on Garden Reach, green ticks on Mazgaon, and BEL. Ladies and gentlemen, BEL is something that you need to watch out. ACC, BEL, Colgate Palmolive, and HPCL are the earnings boys as far as today's markets are concerned from the F&O space. So keep these stocks in mind. So Nifty settled 108 points lower, 24,953. The Nifty Bank will try and move 250 points higher, 51,546, and a 0.5% uptick on Nifty IT and Nifty 500. We are also waiting for Vaishali Parekh, Vice President for Technical Research and Analysis, to join us. Anything that attracts you, Dua Saab, apart from the stocks that Sakshi and I have marked in the pre-open trade?
So I think Cipla, Punjab National Bank, and and this DLF. These are the stocks which should move up because of the results. On the this negative side, IndusInd Bank, IDFC First, and this SBI Cards, I think should underperform or actually see a fall. On the technical side, my technical team is in short term positive on ITC, Paytm, Maruti, and and this in DB's lab. So these are their technical picks where they see a breakout, and they feel that these stocks could be good for the intraday as well as for a positional trade of this 2 to 5%.
Okay, got that. Well, seems like we are going to be having that record high opening. The markets have settled in the pre-opening trade, 24,943, 108 points higher in trade for the Nifty. Not just that, even the mid-cap 100 index is indicative of a record opening in trade today. The index is hinting at a open at a 0.7% uptick and at about 58,192 odd levels. So we'll continue to look at that as well. So across the board, it seems to be a green screen that you will be greeted with when the markets hit 9:15 a.m., led by PSU banks, metals, broader markets, oil and gas, IT space. These are the some spaces that could be showing us some strong ticks higher. On the Nifty, it seems to be NTPC that seems to be opening higher, about 2% up in trade. Apollo Hospitals, Shriram Finance, Tata Steel, Dr. Reddy's could be other stocks that could be opening sharply higher in trade. Barring just about 3 or 4 stocks, seems like there could be a very positive start for rest of the stocks on the Nifty pack as well. Even the PSU index seems to be indicative of an uptick of about 0.7%. Stocks like BEL, BHEL, BPCL, Coal India, Container Corp, these could be the ones that could be opening sharply higher in trade as well. Apart from this, some of the other stocks like even Concor, Oil India, Life Insurance Corporation could be the other stocks that we could be looking at. Gauravji, let's come to you with respect to one space that got into the thick of action in the last 10 days odd, and that's the insurance space. Be it LIC that inched higher to all-time high levels all across the board, where value of new margin business was also showing some upticks across the board. Stocks like HDFC, SBI Life, they have been in uptick throughout the last week as well. How are you looking at the insurance basket?
So actually, I think insurance is this thing, try to play the catch up game. Insurance has been underperformer. Most of the stocks have done well in terms of the banking space. So there was a case for some buying here, value buying. That is what I see which is happening. Apart from this, what we are seeing that there is a improving performance also in terms of LIC, which I think is rubbing off. LIC is set to break out of its high, which it made after the listing. So I think that's a stock which lot of investors will be interested in, and I think you should have it on your radar.
Fine. Let's welcome Vaishali Parekh to the conversation. Good morning, ma'am. Very warm welcome to you. Markets welcome you with a 25,000 tick on the Nifty, and of course you're also enjoying this uptick. Any two stocks that catch your attention for today's trade on the long or the short side, ma'am?
Very good morning to all of you. Yes, so there are a couple of stocks to my liking. One is Bharat Forge, which I'm still looking at. I have already recommended, but I still think there is a lot of upside potential. So Bharat Forge is one of the stocks. Currently, it's showing a pre-opening of 1694. I would take 1600 as the support and look for a target of 1800. This would be a positional trade. In the cash category, I'm looking at Munjal Auto, 94 rupees. And of course, the support is a bit lower, so 85 would be the support, and we would be seeing much more targets. The projected targets come to 105, 110 to start with. So these are the stocks as of now, and of course everyone is talking about the insurance stocks and all. We have already recommended GICRE, but I still feel there is a lot of upside. So GICRE would be the stock that I would be looking.
Okay, your very quick view on PNB. This is a high beta stock, and today's 4% uptick is post earnings. 125 for you, Vaishali. What are PNB's charts telling you?
Well, it's open with a lot of strength, so now it needs to move past 125, 126 levels. Well, 128 acts as the near-term hurdle. So above that, we can see some, but I would say for now, 128 could act as a very strong resistance.
Okay. Good morning to you, Vaishali. 3 stocks where I want you to suggest, what should investor strategy be. First one is ICICI Bank, next is Ultratech Cement, and the third one is India Cements.
Okay, so very good morning to you, sir. So I think, yes, ICICI post its results is showing strength. It needs to sustain above these levels, that is 1220 levels. Having said that, I think that will also help Bank Nifty to surge high. So 1220 is the level to watch for. Above that, we can say that yes, it's ready for a takeoff towards target 12500 to start with.
Ultratech and ICICI and Ultratech and India Cements?
So Ultratech Cement also is showing a lot of strength. It's a new round of momentum. I would say 11,400 acts as the support, and this is likely to go towards 12,000 and higher. And India Cement also has been showing a lot of positivity, and I think this continue holding with a trailing stop loss. Look for a target of 390.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, please tighten your seat belts. We will definitely see 25,000 somewhere later this week, but for the moment 24,978 for you as far as the Nifty is concerned. It's just kissing distance away from 25,000. Nifty Bank 51,590, 299 points higher. Nifty IT index is 0.6% higher, and the Nifty 500 index is also showing the same momentum. Let's look at earnings, boys. ICICI Bank 2.3% higher, 1234. PNB 125.26, 4% higher. Bandhan Bank 5.8% higher, 203.80. This is how the three banking stocks are reacting. There's a sell-off on Indigo, 3% lower, 43.66. Will this be purchased into? Only time will tell. Now let's look at the heavyweights. What is HDFC Bank doing? 5.2 rupees lower, 1612. What is Reliance doing? 15 rupees higher, 3033. What is Infosys doing? At about 1901, the counter is up 22 rupees. So Infosys and TCS up 41 rupees, 44,330. Remember, both of these are also very strong buyback candidates, and these are the ones that need to be watched out for. How about Tata Motors? In the green, 2 rupees higher, flat 1121. Let's shift focus immediately to NSE 500 and look at the list of winners. The Nifty at 24,950 for you. Okay, India Cement. This is a counter that is showing a fairly strong traction, 1.9% higher, 380. Remember, the open offer price is 390, so this trade is more or less done. What else is buzzing as far as the NSE 500 is concerned? Rights from the railway stable, 714, 6.9% higher. City Union Bank 170, 6% higher. You have all sorts of banks coming up. J&K Bank 4% higher, 112. You have Whirlpool of India 3% higher, 2113. Very strong move coming in all these counters. Buyback candidate Timken India 4109, 2.5% higher. So this is how the market has opened. A very quick look at how FNO is moving. Bandhan 7% higher. Vaishali, your very quick view on Bandhan 206. What are the charts telling you?
So I would say Bandhan Bank has shown a lot of strength right now, and the near-term hurdle, this is in all likelihood, we are looking at a resistance at 215. The near-term target resistance is 208. Above that, it's 215. If we sustain about 215, it's out of the woods. It can go higher.
Okay, so the Nifty, Sensex and the Nifty Midcap 100 Index, they've all three opened at record high levels in trade today, viewers. And across the board, all the sectors now barring just slight red ticks on the FMCG Index, they're all up and about, led by gains in the PSU Banking Index, that's up by 2.3 odd %. The top stocks in the trade right now are Punjab and Sind Bank, that's up by 6.5%. PNB, that's up 6%. Indian Overseas Bank, another 6% higher in trade. A very strong move across the board. At least 6 names coming in over 5% higher in trade. UCO Bank up 5%. Bank of Maharashtra now 4% higher. Central Bank of India about 3% now. These are the kind of names that are coming into the limelight. Apart from this, the oil and gas space seems to be pulling up in trade. So especially the OMCs, you have BPCL, HPCL, those are the ones that are ticking higher, along with ONGC that has continued to remain positive throughout the previous series as well. GSPL, AG's you have Indian Oil Corporation, Gujarat Gas, Indraprastha Gas, GAIL, all the gas names also ticking higher in trade. ICICI Bank now about 1.2%, 1.8% higher in trade, among the top movers on the Nifty. IT space also throwing in some weight, about Infosys now by about 1.1% higher in trade. Let's get in Vaishali on board. Vaishali, let's understand PSU banks. You talked about PNB. What else looks positive to you? The entire space is abuzz with action.
So yes, SBI to start with, which is what I never fail to miss out on. So I think that's also looking very positive to me. And I think we are looking at a target of 900, 910. So 850 acts as a good support. It was a good buying opportunity on lower levels. And so is the case with even Canara Bank. So overall, full IT sector looks promising.
It's banks all the way, Sakshi, 9% on Bandhan.
Yes,
This we've already checked, and if you look at how the PSU banking basket is performing, this is where the action is. If you look at how stocks are moving, Indian Overseas Bank and PSB Bank are the top winners. In the PSU segment, forget banking on its own, 6% higher, and remember the thumb rule, low ticket, high beta. UCO Bank, PNB Bank, Bank of Maharashtra, JK Bank, Central Bank, Bank of India. Out of the top 10 PSU winners, 8, ladies and gentlemen, actually 9 are banking stocks, and they are going great guns because of earnings that have come in from Bandhan as well as PNB. Apart from PNB and Bandhan that you've already marked, Vaishali, one PSU banking stock that looks good.
Karnataka Bank, that looks good. So right now we are seeing a good strong candle formation, and 220 would act as a stop loss. Wait for this stock to move above 240 levels decisively. It brings in a lot of strength to go towards 260, 270.
What's also buzzing is the OMC space. You have a strong move coming in on Indian Oil Corporation, 2.7% higher. Hindustan Petroleum, earnings boy today, 3.2% higher, 390.65, and of course a strong move on BPCL as well. Sakshi.
Right, we discussed the banking space and the oil and gas space quite a lot. Let's also get in Gaurav ji into the conversation now. Gaurav ji, where do you see the outperformance in terms of sectors now coming in? Now that the big events are now past us, where do you see the incremental flow of money will go as the markets continue to tick higher and close in on that 25,000 mark?
So, I've been saying this on your show that IT, Pharma, some of the FMCG stocks, these are the spaces which will see this incremental flow, and these are the spaces which can outperform not only for a month, 2 months, but for a longer time. And so that is what we are seeing. Another one which I feel which is coming out of a long basically underperformance is the specialty chem space. If you see, some of the players have shown excellent numbers, be it Atul, Sumitomo,
Yeah.
and that's where I think you could have a new fresh flow of money. SRF, though they announced the pretty weak numbers, I think that stock is also looking very, very good to us.
That's interesting. Let's get in Vaishali also to talk about the entire chemical space to see if she's also seeing some technical actions right there. Sumitomo Chemicals especially is reacting very sharply to its earnings in trade today. It's a strong move on that one. Where in the chemicals basket do you find strength, technically speaking, Vaishali?
So yes, Sumitomo is one of the stocks which even we are following, and the other stock that I would be focusing on now is Archean Chemicals. That also is technically well placed. It is getting into some strength, getting into a trend. So Archean Chemical is a stock which with 700 as support, I would look for a target of 800. And on the front line, I think Naveen and SRF are comparatively at a good level to start accumulating.
Fair point. Let's look at the record highs in the market, where almost all indices are also either in that territory or somewhere very close. Inox Wind, 178, 4% higher. Ashok Leyland, this is little discussed, but often mentioned, 254, 3.4% higher. The management of Ashok Leyland last week mentioned that there are 3 subsidiaries of the company that just might get listed, among them Hinduja Finance and Hinduja Home Finance, plus an IT company as well. So keep Ashok Leyland on your radar. Apollo Tyres 562, 2% higher. Fresh Peak, Tata Motors 1.7% higher, 1138. Natco Pharma 1348, 1% higher, and of course LIC 1182, mildly in the red, but again moving fairly rapidly. Look at the advanced decline ratio as far as the markets are concerned. There is a blowout rally that's happening across the F&O space. You have 1747 shares in the green, 389 in the red, easily a 5:1 kind of a scenario as far as advanced declines are contained. Business today tracks 19 indices for you. Out of 19, 18 are in the green. The only one, FMCG, mildly in the red. This one will also gain ground. Needless to say, the Nifty PSU Banking Index is the top performer, 2.7% higher, 7466. Small Cap Index 1% higher, Realty Index 1% higher. And if you look at the advanced decline ratio for NSE 500, it's 400 stocks in the green, 94 in the red. So 4:1 on the broader market, which is doing very well. And what's clicking? NTPC post earnings. Vaishali will take a view on that. And of course, Sakshi, the defense sector is back, and back with a bang. Look at Masgaon, 1% higher, HAL 0.5% higher, BDL 1.5% higher, BEML 2.2% higher, and of course Cochin and Garden Reach in the green as well. Vaishali, NTPC for you.
Well, it's relentless. It's just surging high. I think continue holding with the trailing stop loss. We can see 420, 430 levels.
Okay, got that. Let's get Gauravji into the conversation. Gauravji, like Shail was pointing out, defense space again a buzz with all the action, especially the shipping stocks. Again, a lot of FOMO among investors, whether they should participate in this rally or whether they should stay away. What would you advise?
So, yes, I think these are a structural story, but then you have to be very, very selective in this space. Some of the stocks I have to say run ahead of the fundamentals. They are not cheap anymore. They are actually factoring next 4 to 5 years of growth. So in this space, when you are buying, you have to be extremely careful. BEL and this thing, HAL are 2 stocks that we are holding, but we've been holding for a long time. And they have been, been this multi-baggers for us, and we are actually reducing our exposure there at this point of time rather than adding, because most of our investors in this space have actually made a lot of money, and the exposure that they have to the space has actually gone up this thing quite a lot. So this, as I said, we are withdrawing gradually some of the profits from this power, railway, defense, and in its place increasing our exposure to basically IT, pharma, and this in consumer, and specialty chem is where we have started buying now.
Okay. Vaishali, the other space that needs your attention is the real estate space. Remember, right after the budget and the measures taken there, especially on the indexation part, that led to a lot of sentiment being broken as far as the real estate space is concerned. But today, this index is up by about 1%. Stocks like DLF, Brigade, Suntech Realty, Phoenix, Shobha, they're all up and about in action. So let me first take Mr. Dua's reaction, and then Vaishali, you on the key stocks that one can look at. Gauravji, real estate space for you.
So I think yes, whatever they have done, whatever they have done, in terms of changing the taxation will go up. There will be some basically investor interest which will just go down. But I think real estate is on a multi-year up cycle. There is a very strong demand from the end user. That is what is being shown in the numbers. Macrotech, Hua, DLF, all these have shown extremely strong pre-sales, and we think these 2 stocks will do well. Within the small cap space, mid cap space, what we like is is this Suntech and and this Arvind, this is smart spaces.
Vaishali?
Well, I would focus more on frontline. So DLF and Godrej Properties and even Oberoi, they all look good because I was just seeing the overall realty index, and I think it was just into some sort of consolidation. It still shows a lot of strength for an upward. So DLF and Godrej Properties would be my favorite picks.
Let's look at City Union Bank. I can't remember the last time I saw an 8% uptick on City Union Bank, now trading about at 172. Let's look at the positioning. Okay. Vaishali, would you step in on City Union Bank? Is the deed done, or is there potential of a run up still in the vicinity?
Well, today's movement is showing some exhaustion, but we need to wait and watch because only if we see this stock moving above 175, it would show further strength. So I guess either we buy it in decline or wait for a breakout.
Okay. The only two sectors that are consistently moving are the PSU banking space and the PSU energy space. The Nifty oil and gas index, ladies and gentlemen, is up 1.2%, and this is at 1310. 13,210. Please keep an eye out on this one. Very strong move coming in here. And of course, we've discussed the PSU banking basket threadbare. Reliance has started to move, and that means only one thing, that the Nifty will now start to reverse. We are testing 24,900 as we speak. Still 74 points higher, but remember the intraday high was somewhere like 24,974. And what else is buzzing? Rights, 719. Vaishali, this requires your attention. Up about 6-7%, and the top performing stock in the entire PSU segment. What are the charts of rights telling you?
So it's a gap up opening, so it really implies an inherent strength. So I would say one can take a try with today's lowest stop loss and probably go for a target of 750 to start with.
Okay.
Okay, the all-time high on rights is 775, 778, and this move has taken it beyond 21 EMA. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Inox Wind is ticking higher by about 4% in trade today, and the entire power space is abuzz. Of course, we have the NTPCs and power grids of the world, but even the renewable energy makers and focus stocks are also up and about in trade. Suzlon is also up by about 2%. And then we have Inox Wind, of course, that's now ticking higher. Vaishali, anything that looks positive to you within the renewable energy space that you'd like to highlight?
So yes, Inox Wind is the stock that we are focusing on, and today also it's given a breakout. So I think this stock shows a lot of strength as a positional buy also, and even the weekly and the monthly charts are good. So I think this is ready for a next target of 200. And Suzlon, of course, it has been on the radar for most of us. So it has been gradually elevating. I think continue holding as a long-term trade because this can go towards 80 levels.
Can go towards 80 odd levels. Let's also get in Gauravji into the conversation. Gauravji, how about the Adani group as a whole? What is your sense here, and how are you advising clients on this space? Again, the entire space is abuzz with action, news flows continuing, the way they want to continue to increase capacity going forward. A lot of these stocks are up by about 2, 3, 4% higher in trade today within that space. Anything that looks positive to you?
So basically, we have only been tracking ACC, Ambuja, and this Adani ports, because these are basically it's businesses which have got hard assets. Valuations are also not very very expensive. Rest of the Adani stocks, I won't be able to comment.
Okay, got that. How about you, Vaishali? What looks good to you on the charts within the Adani pack?
Well, I'm looking at Adani Enterprise, Adani Port. Both look quite good to me, and I think after a very long consolidation, this is getting into a momentum. So I would say yes, Adani Enterprise, Adani Port, both are good at these levels.
Okay, two stocks, both of them news led. Let's take a view from Vaishali and of course Gaurav ji as well. Firstly, Orient Cement. Remember, this is one stock that I had mentioned is a merger takeover candidate from the cement space. Now 5% higher. Needless to say, this is a record high. We have 351 on the charts, and Sakshi, for the last 4 weeks, week on week, day on day, the counter is up. Vaishali, what are the charts of Orient Cement telling you?
I think it's already gone quite high. One should keep a trailing stop loss. I would not recommend a new buy at these levels because the momentum has begun the right from 225 levels, and again the near-term consolidation was at around 290 levels. So I think it's run up quite a bit. Continue holding with a trailing stop loss.
All right.
Okay, fair point. Gauravji, would you have a view on Orient Cement? Market cap
Yes.
7,300 crores, and of course, we are looking at a dividend yield of about 0.6%.
So this Orient, Sagar Cement, Heidelberg, these are all been doing well because they are actually seen as candidates for acquisition, and that is what is this moving this stock, these stocks, and some of them are not cheap anymore. Yes, Orient is within the pack, looks much this thing better to us. This dividend yield is good, valuations are not too stretched, but in that space, what we like the best is JK Lakshmi.
Okay. Okay, got it. We'll keep an eye out on that. Well, the other space that warrants your attention, Vaishali, is the entire wealth management space. Most of the stocks here are ticking sharply higher. Of course, Nuvama ticking higher on the back of strong earnings. It's 5% up now. You have 361 WAM, that's up 4%. Then you also have even Geojit Financial Services, Anand Rathi, IIFL Finance. The entire space seems to be abuzz with all the action. How are you looking at the buzz in this space, and what looks good to you?
So yes, Geojit looks quite good. In fact, HDFC Asset Management still looks good. I'm also focusing on JM Finance because that is also gradually going higher. So yes, these are all in the trending because Angel One, all these have really done well. So yes.
Okay, let's get in Gaurav ji into the conversation. The broader NBFC universe, beyond the banking space that we've discussed today far and wide, is this space also looking positive to you, sir? And within the NBFC space, barring the two majors, Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv, where else would you look for value?
So actually, we have been underweight on this space. NBFCs have been struggling; they have been underperforming. Chola is one of the stocks that we like and has done very well. So the stock is not cheap anymore, according to us. But what we have been tracking and where we have been investing in this space is, is this Geo Financials. We believe that is going to be the big this thing, daddy of the space. They have a lot of plans, aggressive plans. They have extremely good this balance sheet. They can also grow very quickly. So if you have this mindset to invest for next this thing, 2 years or so, that's the stock that feel this is better.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that I had picked up at 719 for you. At the moment, 742. It's overcome a major resistance, and this is perhaps the right time for right volume to be looked at. Remember, this is now worth 281 crore rupees as far as the first 20 odd minutes of trade are concerned, and of course the counter is up 11%. The last time we checked, it was up 6%. Still a lot of momentum left in the market. The Nifty Bank is up 600 points, almost 51,900 for you. and this is showing pretty strong momentum because of smaller private sector banks, Bandhan, City Union Bank, as also larger ones, ICICI, IndusInd Bank, all doing pretty good. What is moving? RECL 6.3% higher, 633, which is about 1.3% higher. What also is moving is Reliance, 3053, almost 1% higher, but there's no stopping RITES. Vaishali, would you want to revisit the chart of RITES now?
Sure. Yes, so right, as we discussed, it has shown strength. I think this can go towards 800 now.
Okay, 800 would be the circuit limit, but then this is something that's moving fairly sharply. And of course, a word of caution from Mr. Gaurav Dua. Sher Khan and Mr. Dua personally may have a vested interest in all the stocks mentioned by him. Thank you, Gauravji, and a very warm send off to you. Let's hope the markets are as beneficial to us in the coming 6, 8, 10 months as they have been in the previous 52, 54 weeks. Very, very strong momentum, of course, coming in. Bank Nifty at day's high, 51,900. And of course, what also is sticking is FDC. Again, I had mentioned this as a buyback candidate. Keep an eye out on this one. Record high 536 for you. Little known, but all of us at one point of time in our lives have used its product. It's called Electrol, and especially for all those people in North India who suffer from dehydration and intense heat, have once in a while used Electrol. Sakshi, what are you watching?
Well, we have been discussing all the buzzing spaces. PSU banks still up about 3%. Real estate space has ticked even higher, which we discussed, 1.5% higher for this one. Private banks, the broader markets, they all seem to be ticking higher. It's now ICICI Bank that's now climbed to the top spot on the Nifty and is contributing to the Nifty gains as well in the maximum fashion. We also see State Bank of India from the PSU banking space up in about 2% higher in trade. IndusInd Bank closely follows with nearly 2% higher. You have BPCL, NTPC, Larsen and Toubro and Tata Motors that are now ticking higher by about over 1% each as well. Let's get in Vaishali to comment. And Gauravji, thank you so much for being with us. And like you've shared, Sher Khan and you personally would have vested interest in the stocks mentioned by you. So that's the disclaimer coming in from your end. Always appreciate your time with us on Business Today Television. We'll leave you at that, but we'll see you soon, very soon on Market Today and on Business Today Television. But Vaishali, Tata Motors for you now. How are you looking at the stock and the chart going forward from here?
So Tata Motors, we are on anyways quite positive on, and but our trading target is 1150. So that is one level we have asked our traders to book.
Okay, got that. And within the auto ancillary pack also, what looks good to you? You did talk about Munjal Auto even before the markets opened. What else looks promising to you, Vaishali, now?
Samvardhan Motherson, I have been talking about since a very long time. And of course, it has got a very strong uptrend, I would say, even for a long-term perspective, because I guess I'll just have a look on the monthly chart also, it has given a breakout. So I would look at this stock for a target of 250 from here on. So 180, 175 acts as a good support, buy at every dip.
Okay.
942, ladies and gentlemen, and across the board you have a very strong momentum coming in, led of course by the entire PSU bank. The Nifty PSU banking index needs a mention, Sakshi, for 2 points. One, it is still to reclaim its all-time high, which we saw on 3rd of June, and it is still below what was the election day number. So keep an eye out on this one, because money is moving towards sector that have relatively underperformed. That is why you see a very strong momentum coming back with a bang on the entire PSU banking basket, of course triggered by the very strong earnings show of Punjab National Bank. Rights and rights all the way, now 749, 11-12% higher. What also is clicking, Bank of India 125 for you. DLF starts its move 4.5% higher, 867. Oberoi Realty 1% higher, 1816. All of these stocks are recovering from last week's thrashing that they got from the market for no fault of theirs, except for the fact that the government had removed the indexation benefit on real estate sales. Sakshi.
Absolutely. Well, Vaishali, we'll bring you in on the entire space now that's buzzing beyond rights. Also, that was rightfully picked by Shell earlier this morning. So it's 13% higher in trade. But following it closely, we also have Ircon International, that's a buzz 4% higher. Railtel, you have Titagarh Rail, Rail Vikas Nigam, IRFC, all of them upwards of 1% higher in trade. Beyond rights, where else do you see the momentum can continue?
So I would say have a look at RVNL. That is one stock. IRFC is also looking quite positive. It can get into a new round of momentum. But so RVNL is once again at a good support level. Let's wait and watch till we see some volume pickup happening in this. But my favorites still are Jupiter Wagon, Tex Macro Rail.
Jupiter Wagons and Tex Macro Rail remain to be your top favorite. We'll continue to keep an eye out on the entire space. Within the shipping space, now Shipping Corporation of India is up 4%. GE Shipping is up 2.5%. You also have Garden Reach Shipbuilders, that's 0.5% higher in trade at 2224. Shreyas Shipping, CMEC, we'll also look at Mazagon Dock and Cochin Shipyard. The entire space again seems to be in the thick of action. Where will the momentum continue within this entire space? Your top favorite stock within the shipping space for this week?
So I would look at Shipping Corporation of India itself. That is also getting into new round of momentum today, as we are seeing. So I guess this is one of the stocks, and GE Shipping.
Right. 9:46, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a fantastic opening so far. The Nifty is now consolidating around 24,902. Let's look at how these gains have come up, and the primary contributors to this uptick, ladies and gentlemen, are the two IT companies, Infosys and TCS. ICICI Bank is contributing 50 points to its uptick. Remember, it's the third heaviest weighted counter as far as weights are concerned in the Nifty after HDFC Bank and Reliance. Counter up 2.7% after a very strong show of earnings. Banks is the one that is helping the Nifty higher. SBI 1.9% higher, contributing 15 points. L&T Reliance bringing in about 11-12 points. ICICI taking it away. 4 very strong block deals happening at 12:40. Let's get Vaishali's view into ICICI Bank post its earnings show. If the move continues about for 1, 2, 3 hours, then probably a fresh trend has started. Vaishali, what are the charts of ICICI Bank telling you?
I totally agree. I mean, I was a bit too early, hasty in my decision. I had mentioned above 1220, and that's where we are. We are quite above that. So I think, it should continue. The trend should continue. And if market overall has to show its positive move, I think it's high time Bank Nifty starts participating. So these are the stocks which one should focus on, and I think this is a trigger for a further upside move. Would you agree with me, Shailji?
Ma'am, I have absolutely no other choice but to agree to our lady luck.
ऐसी कोई बात नहीं है. Well, because again, if we talk about 55,200.
But you know, it's for the benefit of our viewers that we get Vaishali with such consistency and regularity. Not only is her stock picking and chart reading fantastic, but Lady Luck often smiles on her more often than not. And if you have luck and if you have hard work backing you, there's no stopping you in the market. Sakshi.
Absolutely, and we just have 10 minutes more to look at how this first edition of Market Today really closes in today. But it's been a strong showing thus far, even though we've sold off from the high point of the day, 24,911. Vaishali, do you see the momentum sustaining of the upside, or a sell-off which has already started to happen from the high point?
Well, that first half an hour can be discounted because intraday traders, I mean, BTST traders and all. Let's see. According to me, I think this trend is to sustain because my observation is that there is participation coming from almost all sectors.
That's true.
So I guess, well, we are in for a good upward move here from here on also.
Okay. Any particular sector that is likely to see a sharp rally from here on? Because Vaishali, why I ask you this is that you've been also tracking the budget themes with us for the last 1 month odd or so. So, the stocks that we were looking at, railways, EVs, defense, maybe sugar, all of those are now looking to phase out on the kind of premium that they were looking at right ahead of the budget. So where should one really look for momentum now?
I would say actually we saw a bit of a correction coming in ABB, Siemens, etc. So post budget, these were the stocks that we were focusing on, and from there on, look at Siemens. They are already into new round of momentum. So to my liking, Larsen and Toubro after such a long time had come above 3,700 levels. So capital goods, I think, still has a lot of steam.
Capital goods still has a lot of steam right there. Let's look at some of the F&O gainers and ask Vaishali, where can one be really looking at? After a long haul, Atul Limited, IEX, these stocks seem to be in the thickest of action. Would you have a view on both these stocks separately? Vaishali, Atul Limited first and then IEX?
Definitely. I think Atul Limited is one of the chemical stocks, right? So this has really outperformed. This has outperformed, and even on a weekly chart, it is coming above the 200 period. So I think gradually this should surge high, but well, in between whipsaws cannot be ruled out. But having said that, I also am focusing on Navin Fluorine, SRF. They are technically well placed. So I think fair value entry should be, these should be the stocks that one can look for.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think the half an hour, 45-minute correction on the Nifty may be over. We've tested exactly 24,900 and filled the gap halfway, which was there in the morning. Let's see now what happens. My estimate is that we will close above 25,000 today, and that remains to be seen. We'll also look at the IT index. About 0.1% higher, 52 rupees, up at 41,031. Remember, it's also at a record high. And if there is a cash-rich sector in India which regularly does buybacks, this is the space. So keep an eye out on Infosys, TCS. There are regular buyback candidates to improve shareholder value for remaining investors within the company. And of course, they are beyond cash rich. So keep these two in mind as far as the October 1st deadline is concerned. This is a line in sand set up by the Finance Ministry. All buybacks before October 1st will not attract the new taxation that has been decided upon. So keep that in mind. And of course, what else is clicking? I think what is back in action is defense. And we need to keep an eye out on Mazgaon, Hindustan Aeronautics, BEL, BDL, and of course Cochin and Garden Reach. Some of these stocks have corrected about 10, 12, 15% from their record highs. Vaishali, any defense counter from the PSU pack that catches your attention?
I think Mazgaon Dock. That is one stock that I would repeatedly track because this has gone into a little bit of a consolidation. I think this is a good rebuy strategy, or perhaps add more, and 4,300 would act as a support. So accumulation would be the strategy.
Okay, got that. All right, apart from this, let's also understand from you within the oil and gas space, how are you looking at the two upstream majors and how would you really place your bets now? ONGC versus Oil India, where do you see the momentum continuing now?
So ONGC we have been very closely tracking, and my we had recommended right from 290. So 340 acts as a resistance, trading resistance. Once we see the stock moving above 340, we are heading for 370 and so on. But as compared to that, Oil India is already in a trend, and I think again looks positive for retesting in all likelihood 650 levels.
Okay, got that. Within the broader market, there are some more interesting names that are coming in. Would like to just read out to all of those. Asahi Songwon is at a 20% circuit at 493 odd levels. Then you also have, apart from the ones that we've discussed, Parsonat Developers, that's up 10% within the real estate pack. You also have something like VST Industries, that's been consistently rising 7% higher. Pennar Industries, that's up 7% higher. FDC Limited is up about 7% odd. Then you have Office Space Solutions. Remember, this recently listed stock that's been showing off and on some momentum is up another 7% in trade as well. So those are some of the names that are picking up pace within the broadest index right now. Anything that looks good within the names that I took for you, Vaishali?
So I like Parsonat Developers because I think, well, nothing much happening all this while, but now again it shows a lot of strength. So if we see a follow-up buying from here on, it can go much higher.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 minutes left as far as trade is concerned in this particular show. And the showstopper has been the entire BSU pack, led dramatically by the railway space. So again, RITES up 11.6%, RailTel up 5.5%, IRCON up 5%, RVNL 4% higher, and of course, who can forget IRCTC? This is getting 1% higher, IRCON Container Corporation 1%, and IRFC 2.7% higher. All 7 PSU railway stocks are in the best of shape after correcting about 15, 20, 30% from their peak. Now they are moving higher from their shorter term moving averages, and the volumes are substantial. If you look at the trade on RITES at the moment, this is somewhere in the vicinity of 350 crores. And also what is back in action? It's IREDA 261, about 1.3% higher, and already about 170 crores worth of transactions has happened. The Nifty testing 24,905. Let's see whether it closes above 25,000 or not. Sakshi, over to you.
Right, we'll start winding up now, and before that, I wanted to ask Vaishali, pharma space is flattish with a negative bias today, but it's Divis Laboratories that's been up 1.1% higher. How are you looking at some of these stocks that are defying the trend?
Well, overall, our pharma sector looks very promising, but we have seen a good run up all these days. I mean, you look at Sun Pharma, we look at Dr. Reddy's. So for some time, I don't think these stocks would get into momentum. But yes, Divi's today is showing strength. So I guess gradually Oro Pharma, Divi's, because pharma index on the whole still has upside potential.
Okay, got that. Well, on that note, thank you so much, Vaishali, for being with us on this very special edition and sharing all those wonderful stock ideas, strategies, and thoughts and insights that you always share with our viewers. Truly a pleasure to host you always and week on week. Thank you so much for sparing your time for us and our viewers. Strong move on the Nifty Bank viewers, 51,828, a percent higher. So that's outperforming the benchmark indices right now. The Nifty is hovering about 0.3% higher, 24,900 and thereabouts. Sectorally, it's PSU banks that's been leading the show, 3% uptick, followed by media, real estate, private banks, Nifty Bank overall, and the broader markets as well that been ruling the roost, and the oil and gas names. Top movers on the Nifty, ICICI Bank, L&T, now up by 1.8%. BPCL, SBI, IndusInd Bank and Divis Laboratories are the other movers on the Nifty right now on the higher side. Lower side, you have Bharti Airtel, Cipla, Tata Consumer Products, HDFC Life, Titan and Tech Mahindra as the top laggards right now. within the F&O space, what's been leading is Bandhan Bank with a 10% upper move on the F&O space. You have Bharat Forge, that's up 6.5%, something that Vaishali alluded to right in the beginning of the show, which she likes. Punjab National Bank, that's up by 6%. City Union Bank, Atul Limited, DLF, Apollo Hospitals, most of these stocks, and even IEX that we have discussed on the show and taken the views of our top guests. On the lower side within the F&O pack, you have Mahanagar Gas, you have Cipla, Tata Consumer Products, Emphasis and Gujarat Gas and Chola Investment as some of the top laggards right now. But we'll wrap it up at that. But do stay tuned onto Business Today Television. The entire day is packed for you with a lot of earnings conversations that follow. And apart from that, you will also get to see what should be the strategy beyond the budget now, and as the focus increases on how the interest rate trajectory will move forward from here. So keep an eye out on all of those special conversations coming up next for you. Till that time, it's a goodbye from both Shail and me for the morning edition.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to you on this lovely day. We are going to discuss what's the way forward for markets after what happened on 23rd of July. And what I suggest is that please take a pen and paper. There are a lot of interesting